Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for WWE Crown Jewel 2025. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Show you how to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Crown Jewel, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, WWE had us waking up super early here in the U.S. anyway. Around the world, y'all got to see how we usually get to see these PLEs. So that's always nice. I didn't mind waking up super early for it, and for what is, by all purposes, considered a B PLE. But I gotta say, this might be one of the better PLEs of the year. Probably the best PLE of the year, if we're really thinking about it, because WWE hasn't had, again, they've had a good year. I've been thoroughly entertained throughout 2025. But the shows overall just felt like, man, maybe they overthought it here a little bit. There was just something that just felt like a lot was left on the cutting room floor when the PLE is over, or they overthink things like they did with SummerSlam, which besides this was probably my favorite PLE of the year thus far. And that's what I really did appreciate about the show, is that we didn't overthink anything. We knew what we had to do. We executed some things. Some things I don't really fully love, that I might be the outliner of, that we will get into a little bit. But again, for the most part, we knew what we needed to do. We executed it. We're not going to overthink the pudding. We're not going to do any run-ins. We're just going to put on a good wrestling show. And then, we're just going to move on, and we're going to get back to the stories that we are trying to implement. And that's the main thing, is that they are getting back to those narratives. It's not just about the moment, if you will. It is about, okay, yes, here's a moment here, but this moment has a purpose, and we're going to proceed to continue on moving forward. And there is a lot of interesting dynamics that were happening throughout the show. Kicking off, Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, the match was relatively tame for the most part, especially, as an Australian street fight that Bronson Reed is still undefeated in. That is the main takeaway that we need to do from this match, is that Bronson Reed is still undefeated in Australian street fights. And so my question then becomes, if it's not in Australia, and they have a San Diego street fight, right, when we have the next one and Bronson Reed is in, does that record still count for that? Is it just an Australian street fight that he's undefeated in, or is it just a street fight that he's undefeated in? These are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. But yeah, overall for a street fight, it was relatively tame. I liked how much fun Roman Reigns was having throughout the match. I do think Bronson Reed was the right decision to make. I did not think he was going to win by any means. I just thought, well, again, because I said it on my Monday Night Raw review, I was like, I feel like Bronson Reed needs to win more, and the way that Roman was standing tall, it makes it seem like he's going to do that, but I still don't believe that whatsoever. So the fact that we actually went all in with it, because I really thought, okay, once the Usos come out, it's 3-on-2. That's Bronson Reed get out of jail free card as to why he lost. It was 3-on-2, and they could be like, well, Seth, where the hell were you at? And then, that continues to add the tension within the division. But nope, we didn't do that. Instead, we added to the bloodline story, if you will. Well, Jey Uso spears Roman Reigns through the table. And then that's how Bronson Reed is able to get the tsunami onto Roman, 1, 2, 3. And then that's it. Big win for Bronson. He really did need that. Now that kind of elevates him more to be on the same level as a Braun Breaker, because we've all been talking about, it's like, yeah, that Braun Breaker, he's going to main event WrestleMania one day, and then Bronson Reed was the guy there just to take the pins. And now there really isn't that guy anymore. If you pin Roman Reigns, no matter how you pinned Roman Reigns, you pinned Roman Reigns, so you need to stay like a threat for a good while until he either pins you back, or until that next a big monster is going to come by and get him. That's just the caliber that Roman Reigns does. So does this mean the Vision needs to get another member to be that fall guy? Because you do need, in every group, I do think you need that one person who can just take a pin, and then keep it moving on, so that there is balances, so that the good guys can get their wins, or the bad guys can get their wins. So there is that balance within the two factions fighting each other. With War Games coming around, maybe they do get that member, but we will see. I heard the rumor that apparently it's going to be Austin Theory. I don't love that. I think Austin Theory needs to turn babyface. He's been heel the whole entire time he's been on the main roster. Whenever he gets back, I think, the feud with Grayson Waller, and he goes babyface. I think that's the direction that we need to go in. So if it is him, cool. I'll give it a shot, but I feel like Austin Theory would be dead in water by Arrival if he does join, especially if he's going to be the fall guy. I'd rather it be, an Ethan Page, and he can stay in NXT, he can get his wins in NXT, but when he's in the main roster, he's in over his head. I think there's opportunities there for that. But yeah, really glad that Bronson Reed got the win. I liked everything that we did afterwards with Roman and the Usos, where he's not trying to be that gaslighter, but he can't help but be that gaslighter, going, I told y'all not to help me. I need... Everyone thinks I can't do things on my own, and I would buy into that a little bit more if he didn't just beat Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris, because he did get the 1-2-3 there. Part of me thinks maybe you hold off this whole program until tonight and Bronson Reed just gets the win, as opposed to Clash in Paris. Roman does win, and then Bronson Reed destroys him, and then now he loses. Now he's going, well, no one thinks I can win, because Roman is in a little bit of a losing streak. I don't think it hurts his character whatsoever, but he got the win against Bronson. He lost that triple threat at WrestleMania 41. Every tag match he's undefeated, but his one-on-ones when he does have to fight alone have been very questionable. I think there's a lot of intrigue there, but there is that asterisk, if you will, of no one thinks I can win on my own when you've already won a match on your own in Clash in Paris against the guy that just pinned you, who by all means needed help to get the 1-2-3. We'll see what happens on Monday. But man, that line when he went, I love you guys, but I don't want to see you till Christmas, is really, really funny to me, because I'm just like, damn, you don't even want to see him for Thanksgiving, man? Not even sit around the food and eat and talk and, watch football with each other? It's like one of the best American traditions of all time. How are you not going to want to see him for Thanksgiving? Just go straight to Christmas, huh? But anyway, and also Jey Uso kind of crashing out a little bit too, going like, man, it's always about him. I can't be doing this anymore. I'm out. And then walking out, and now it's probably going to be Jimmy Uso who has to bring them all together again, because again, I think they are going to be part of the War Games match against the Vision. I mean, it's clear that's the War Games match. It's the Vision versus Team Roman or Team Punk. And by any means, those four are definitely within the match. They just each need to get or I guess Vision needs to get 2 more people on their team to solidify the numbers. But yeah, good opener. Set the tone for the PLE. Again, tame by all means for a match, but the post-match angles are what really intrigues me as well. And then we get to our first Crown Jewel Championship match, Stephanie versus Tiffany. Y'all know how I felt about the build in this. We gave so much tender love and care to Seth versus Cody. It really did feel like this was a little bit of an afterthought, but I did appreciate the focus on it within the SmackDown brand on it. I thought the match was really good. I think this was Tiffany's best match on the main roster overall. Stephanie continues to get better. This is where I have one of my minor problems within the show overall. By all means, I do think maybe Stephanie was the right call to do, because, I see this as a presentation of the divisions as themselves, right? Last year, the Women's World Championship was booked better, or which is perceived better within the audiences as the WWE Women's Championship, which is why Liv Morgan should have won. The WWE Championship was much more perceived better than the World Heavyweight Championship, which is why Cody Rhodes should have won to establish, what's the first and second place title. This year, I do think both World Championships on Monday nights are better perceived. I think they're the better divisions overall. If you take those two, y'all seen the rankings. The Women's World Championship is ranked higher than the WWE Women's title, and the World Heavyweight Championship is the #1 ranked division in all of WWE by my count. So yes, Seth Rollins winning is the right answer, and Stephanie McMahon is the right answer. But as a character, and you keep perceiving, Tiffany Stratton hasn't lost in 2025. Tiffany Stratton has the best winning record of 2025. Or no, I think they show that Stephanie has the most wins in 2025 in all of WWE, while Tiffany Stratton is just undefeated in 2025. That could have been the story right there. But the fact that Tiffany's streak ends, and by all accounts, I know they're really trying to make this Crown Jewel Championship mean something, but by all accounts, in a nothing match, I don't know, kind of leaves a little sour taste in my mouth. I feel like that loss should have been a bigger moment. Should have been the title change to me personally. But hey, it is what it is. Again, I think the match was fun overall. Very good back and forth between the two. Do have a little bit of a minor gripe when it does come to the commentary. There with them saying like, oh, Stephanie is just too new. Stephanie is able to get tape on Tiffany while Tiffany doesn't have that. That was a little much for me. Again, I would have liked it if we would just book this as, yes, the person who's won the most in 2025 versus the person who hasn't lost in 2025. Or also do, hey, two newcomers on the Rising of the Rings, two different paths. Tiffany straight to WWE while Stephanie fought everywhere around the world. And now here they are going to collide with each other. Who's going to be that up-and-comer who takes the spot? Those two types of things intrigue me more that I think we could have really dug into within this program. But again, overall, the match was fine. And again, at the end of the day, I do think the right winner won. I just think, if someone's undefeated, you save that for a big moment, especially with how long she's held that title. You probably save that pinfall for when she loses the belt, and it's just a much bigger moment for whoever does beat her. Because now, the story aspects of it is really interesting. Tiffany had her first loss. Here comes the challenger going, hey, you're weak. I'm going to take you out. Maybe that's Julia. I don't know if we could go back to Jade Cargill necessarily. At this point, just don't let it be Nia Jax. For the love of God, don't let it be Nia Jax. But yeah, it's interesting to see what Tiffany's going to do Friday. Don't get me wrong. It makes her more interesting as a character. I just would have saved that loss for a later time. And then, match of the night. Probably match of the year. Yeah, to me, this is probably my match of the year. John Cena versus AJ Styles. I mean, pure just fun, right? Like, I said this to my friends and, the people I was watching it with in the garage, my family, and saying, this is pure. You're with your buddies or you're with your brother, you're in the backyard on the trampoline, and you're just having fun wrestling. Because, there were so many callbacks. Now, my TNA knowledge from the 2000s is not as great as, other aspects within wrestling, and especially within WWE. So everything John Cena did, I called. I was like, oh, Walls of Jericho. Oh my God, he's doing the Accolade. Oh my God, the Sister Abigail, which was probably the spot of the whole entire night, especially afterwards when everyone had the fireflies out and, they were singing, he's got the whole world in his hands. And John Cena actually took a moment and just looked up to the sky and said, that was for you, buddy. Like you could just tell with the way he looked up and the way he nodded. It was just so many things were said by not saying a single word, and it was very special. But yeah, AJ hit something for Frankie Kazarian. There was Sting. He hit the Coquina Clutch for Samoa Joe. We could go on and on and on with all the spots they did. John Cena even doing a skull crushing finale for The Miz. That was very sweet of him, hitting an RKO. Basically hitting all of Orton's moves. The draping DDT, the RKO, going for the punt. And I was like, man, come on, John. Hit a Batista bomb one time for Batista. Hit a pop-up power bomb for Kevin Owens one time. At some point, they started taking requests because Cena got set up for the 619 when it was like 619, 619, and they actually got ready for it. I was like, there's no way. If Cena does a 619, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. And sure enough, they didn't. And my dad actually, while watching the match, because again, they were taking requests at some point. I swear to God. Because he was like, Undertaker, do the Undertaker. I was like, well, Undertaker and John Cena, because Undertaker's my favorite of all time. But I don't really recall Undertaker being that impactful on John Cena's career. Maybe outside of the ring, sure, by all means. But when they came across, I know they had their Vengeance feud when the first brand split, and John Cena was still really finding himself. But that seemed like a one and done. And I know they had the WrestleMania program when Undertaker was coming back, when John Cena was trying to poke the bear after his match with Roman Reigns, where we thought Undertaker was gone, but John Cena was poking the bear, trying to get him back. But again, not really that rivalry bit. But they heard my dad all the way here in Texas from Australia, because he did the sit-up choke slam to him. That was a big pop. And then, of course, the finish, which I also thought was very fitting, of a tombstone into a AA, because, AJ Styles was Undertaker's last opponent, and there was always that, AJ has a fear of the Undertaker. So I thought that was very fitting. It was just an awesome match, man. Again, it was emotional. It reminds you why you love pro wrestling. Going through, it was almost like watching a time capsule in a lot of ways. And Cena's been doing this for like ever since the Logan Paul match. Like, okay, I'm gonna start hitting my oldest rivals' moves, just to pay honor to them. But I don't know, something about this one just like, again, it just really reminds you why you love pro wrestling, as cliche as that is. But I just had a big smile on my face. It was just pure emotion throughout. Got a little teary-eyed after the Bray Wyatt spot, the way they hugged each other after. I mean, the introductions as well, not only for John but for AJ, who you could tell he did not expect that. The pure definition of total non-stop action. That is awesome. It was just awesome. It was a great final chapter between these two, and they never left the ring again. And I was at that Royal Rumble match where they didn't leave the ring at all, and the callback to that as well. Oh man, it is just again, it reminds me why I love this silly little thing called sports entertainment of professional wrestling. And then you're thinking, well, how the hell are Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and the Kabuki Warriors going to follow that? Very smart placement on the card, I would say, because okay, we know John Cena and AJ Styles are going to probably blow the roof off of this place. We need a cool down before the main event, but we still want the crowd to be relatively hot. Oh, you put Rhea Ripley in. I mean, she's from Australia. She always gets one of the biggest pops, whether we're in Australia or not. But we know that will keep the volume up. And sure enough, it did. Sure, the whole match was a build-up to the hot tag to Rhea Ripley. I like a lot of the stuff that we did here. It was a fun tag team match. I don't want to be dismissive and say, it really wasn't. It didn't really have a place, because it did. Like I said, it's really smart where it was placed on the card. But it was hard, coming down from that high, and going on social media and just seeing all the different reactions that people were having, and people in the crowd. I think too, because again, yes, they were loud, but you could tell like they were still trying to chase, like, come down from what they just saw from John Cena and AJ Styles. But again, overall, a lot of fun stuff. I like how crazy Asuka has gotten. I like this Stockholm Syndrome type thing that Kairi Sane's going through, where she's mad at Asuka, she still loves Io, but yet she's still willing to like beat them up because she was being very vicious to some of the wrestling too. It was just good, pure tag team wrestling overall. Some of the state, because I have some minor problems when it comes to tag team wrestling. I do like tag team wrestling, okay? A lot of people that I talk to when we get into like our what's it called? Not nitpicks. But things that just are gripes within some forms of matches. And I have two when it comes to tag teams. Like, Io and Rhea did a little bit here. Granted, it was supposed to be for the hot start of the match of like, well, who's going to start? Like, you haven't talked to each other all backstage. You'd be like, oh, hey, who's going to start the match? No, you should already have that. Okay, no, you're starting. Okay, I'm going out to the ropes. Let's do a quick handshake, and then maybe that's how when they're going for their fist bump, but they were talking to each other. Oh man, that really that really bugs me a lot. And also, all right, I'm gonna do this huge move to get out of the way, and now I have no energy whatsoever, and I gotta slowly crawl to my partner. I get it; it's preheating the oven, trying to make that big hot tag. I just find it very annoying. Like, Io got out of the way of Asuka, did her roll, but then died. Like, it was the most oddest thing ever. But again, overall, very fun match. Right people won. Io should have won. Kairi taking the pin is also pretty smart. Maybe Asuka goes after Stephanie Becker, but maybe we go straight to Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie. I would save that for like the Rumble if we are going to do that, or maybe even a WrestleMania, because that's a pretty big marquee match, especially with how much we are just stacking the climb for Stephanie Becker. For just, again, we haven't seen a push like this since maybe Paige and in 2014. So keep building her up, but you don't want to make that climb crash even harder. And I think you save Rhea Ripley for a much bigger moment for me personally. And then our main event was a lot of fun too. I liked how desperate Seth Rollins was. I like how he had the gear where he had all the different fabrics from his previous matches with Cody, but like how desperate he was, how mad he was. They were doing the wanker chant, and he's going away like, you caused this, because of what he did on SmackDown. And he's mad at everyone except himself, pulling out all these different moves. I mean, we had a diving coast-to-coast headbutt for crying out loud. My only problems within this, and, you know, we had this in the AJ and John Cena match too, but the fact that finishers mean nothing in this match in wrestling anymore is a really big problem. And where I draw the line at is the avalanche crossroads. It was an avalanche crossroads from the top rope. He hits it, and he already hit a crossroads earlier on in the match. And the fact that Seth Rollins kicked out at 2, I'm just like, that's the finish. You can't keep going after that. You don't do that move. Your finisher has no coating whatsoever, has no protective blanket. How that shouldn't have been passed in the room to me personally. It's a big moment. It's a nice moment. But there are some things that are just bigger than the moment, and a finisher being protected is one of that. Like an Avalanche AA, no one's going to really kick out of that, although AJ Styles did kick out of that. Not tonight, but during that Royal Rumble match so that I was at live. He did kick out of an Avalanche AA. But that was like the last time I could really think of when an avalanche of a finisher was not the finish of a match. And it's just really, I mean, finishers in general in wrestling are a problem. Don't get me wrong. We need to address it. Like, again, we just need to make finishers actually finish matches now. Like, it shouldn't take 3 of them to do it, regardless of who they are facing. It needs to be a one and done, and they should only be able to kick out finishers at maybe the big 4, and then that is it. I guess it's only happening at PLEs. Nope, it happens on Raw and SmackDowns too. Like, even then, like, if it was just happening on PLEs, I could forgive it a little bit more. But the fact that it does happen on Raw and SmackDowns too, it's just a problem we need to address. But yes, again, overall, Cody versus Seth was a good match. Seth winning was the right direction. I also like how we thought a little bit outside the box. I mean, it was hitting us over the head, but I didn't really have this on my bingo card whatsoever because Seth kept looking at the watch, so the watch was the finish. That's really smart. I personally didn't think of have that on my predictions for the finish. I thought maybe Brock Lesnar was going to come out. Really glad we didn't do that. I thought maybe Breaker would have came out regardless that Paul Heyman said don't come out, but but Breaker is such a loose cannon, right? Or maybe, again, the rumored Austin Theory was going to debut. I really thought we were going to do, especially with how the flow of the whole show was. There was no run-ins or anything like that, so maybe we were saving it here for the main event. But no, I mean, yeah, sure, we had a ref bump, but it just kind of worked for me when it came to the finish. And again, I like how desperate Seth Rollins seemed. And then the promo afterwards too, it just really seems like, okay, yeah, we're really building to something here. Where does Cody Rhodes go from here? Again, it's kind of like Tiffany Stratton. Hey, you lost. You're weak, so therefore I'm going to attack you. Maybe he goes back to Drew. I know we're doing Drew versus Jacob on Friday. I feel like Jacob needs to win more, but Drew also really needs to win too, so that's going to be interesting to see how creative they get with that finish. But yeah, again, overall, very good show when it comes to Crown Jewel. I really had a good time with it. Had some minor problems here and there, but overall, lots of fun. Probably the PLE of the year so far when it comes to 2025. Have to rewatch SummerSlam to see if it does top it fully. I mean, as a one night show too, it really does help. Still think we need more matches though, and the commercials kind of really disrupted the flow a little bit too throughout the whole entire program. But hey, that's just the life that we live in. I'll adjust to at some point. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this show down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made this far with the review. We did go a little long. I didn't think I was going to go this long, but please leave a like if you made it this far. I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze today, guys, because life is too short not to give you also squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.